Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Guitar Talk with Todd here at Todd Beebe Music. Thank you so much for checking in and joining me today. We have another awesome guitar. We are checking out another heritage guitar. This is the Terminator from 1985. It definitely is a heritage guitar. Everyone that sees this says, what? That's not a heritage guitar. We've had a ton of them on this show. Check out the playlist below that we have. This one will be included in there as well. Basically known more as a traditional guitar company. They spawned off of Gibson Guitar, of course. Quick history. Gibson left Kalamazoo, Michigan in 1984, and in 1985, April Fool's Day of 1985, Heritage Guitar was incorporated by former employees of Gibson who stayed behind and formed Heritage. And most of their stuff through the years and what they've mostly become known for are like the H150, the H157, the H535, which are like Les Pauls or a ES335. Jazz style guitars as well, like the Eagle and Kenny Burrell model, Roy Clark model, that type of thing. They just do fantastic work there. This type of a thing, not what they're usually known for. But let's go back to that year that they incorporated, 1985. This is a first-year run based on the serial number. Private owner brought this one in today, just like our other video of our Heritage H162, which I'll put the link below to as well. That was a super Strat, and if you were a guitar company in 1985... 1986, 1987, pretty much the mid-80s to the late 80s, early 90s, you had to kind of jump on the bandwagon here and make this type of thing because it might be hard to believe in 2024 when this is being recorded, but traditional guitars like the Les Paul and that style thing were dead in the water. Everyone was, especially rock bands, were playing pointy guitars and, pointy headstocks, super Strats, high-powered, high-output pickups, EMGs, DiMarzio, all that stuff, whammy bars all over the place. This, traditionally, most of these, talked to my friend renwall and doing some research on these, there's probably less than 20 that were ever made. This is definitely from the mastermind of Marv Lamb. Everyone I talked to about this says this was Marv's design. So they had a few of these. Like I said, they had some super Strats. The Stat, not the Strat, the Stat, S-T-A-T. Like I said, the H162, which we've had on here. The X Terminator was a model that they came out with, and the Terminator, which was this. And, 80s, the Terminator movie was big, and so I just went right along with that whole type of thing that was popular at the time. And this was basically Heritage's answer to a Gibson Explorer, in a way. And beautiful guitar, though. I know this does not this is not what we normally feature on this show, but the neck is very comfortable, nice C shape. I would challenge anyone to play this guitar blindfolded and not feel the points or anything and just play it. And you could honestly convince yourself you're playing either a Les Paul or a Heritage like H150 or something. It's a set-in neck. It's not bolt-on. We'll take a look at that more when we look at it in the case. Let's get some close-ups of this and what we got going on. The strange-looking pointier headstock, not a traditional Heritage headstock by any means, with the Heritage silkscreened on there, Grover tuners, so nothing cheap on this guitar. We have the bell-shaped truss rod cover. We've talked about this on this show many times. In 1991, there was a lawsuit, and that was part of the lawsuit between Gibson and Heritage, was that they could not use the bell-shaped truss rod cover anymore, but in 1985, they were, so that is original on there. Rosewood fingerboard, dot fret markers. Here we've got the original Schaller pickups in there. Thank God those have not been swapped out. If you watch this show regularly, you know that I love to see stuff just stay stock. I'm not big on swapping stuff out. Whenever I find a golden oldie like this that's been completely butchered, it's like, it's just always disappointing to me. But I'm also all about to each their own. So if you're doing that, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying my own personal preference. And I know Warren Haynes is on board with me as well, as he says the same thing. He doesn't swap out pickups and whatnot. So just my opinion, but thank God this one survived. Schaller quick change tailpiece back here, which is original. This would be questionable. I'm thinking this should have had a Schaller roller bridge, and this is a Gotoh 2-pneumatic bridge. Gotoh is also being used by Heritage and has through the years. So I guess that could be debatable, but I'm going to pretty much say with certainty that that's a replacement, and it was replaced in place of the original Schaller roller bridge, which you would have seen on anything coming out of Heritage in around 1985, which this is. Most of these came out with Kahlers on them, tremolo systems, and this one did not. This is hardtail. It does not have any signs of modifications where a Kahler was ever removed. So this is even rarer. This is, I've been told, dating the serial number and looking into it, that this was one of the first ones made. It is an 85. So this is something Marv was doing right out of the gate, because that was the first year Heritage opened up. And this is one of the first ones that he made. Only 20 or so were made. But, so who knows? Maybe he did these a couple with without the Kahlers, and then as they got going, they added them on. I'll put a picture up of the one that was featured on the brochure and the advertisement for these when they came out in 85. One tone, one volume knob there. Those are original too. The speed knobs. As you, anyone again who watches the show regularly knows, I love to have separate things for, you know, that. I mean, I can go on stage and make anything work if I have to get by with it, but I would not be thrilled to play this guitar live because of the fact that I like to have the separate channels, so to speak, where each pickup has its own independent volume and tone controls like you'd have on a Les Paul or an H150 or something like that. So that gets a little bit, you know, trying for me, where you only have one volume knob for everything. But that being said, that's really the only complaint I have about this. 3-way toggle down here, and like I said, it is very Explorer-esque. Like I said, the X Terminator had more of a X type of shape body. It was a little bit different than this. Both designed and, you know, created by Marv Lamb. These were definitely one of his creations. This is kind of nice here. It's like a nice shelf for your arm. So your arm is it's very comfortable to play. I know it looks out of place because somebody saw me earlier and said the same thing they saw when I had the Heritage Super Strat, the H162 on. It just looks weird seeing you with this guitar, because usually I'm playing Les Pauls or Firebirds or that, you know, that type of thing. But I'm actually really digging this guitar. It plays very, very well. You can get a lot of different tones out of these. I have no problem with Schaller pickups. I always love to see the original ones still in the older Heritage guitars. I know it's kind of a thing to swap them out, but thank God this one survived with the originals, and that's just really cool. No brakes, no headstock brakes or anything on this, so it's definitely a timepiece and a nice rare time capsule from the 80s there in the first year of Heritage guitar. Pretty cool. Let's take a look at this and get some close-ups in the case and check out the back and everything on this a little bit more. Check it out. Here we go. Okay, guys, so here is the gigantic case for the Heritage Terminator. Not original by any means. It's a wild story about cases for these. I don't believe I've ever actually seen a case for these. I'm guessing they had to have shipped out in something. Everyone I've talked to that has had one of these, including this one, it's an aftermarket. This is a Gator case that was purchased for this, and this thing is huge. Let's open this up here and take a look. this is an aftermarket case where you basically could fit a lot of different guitars in here. Obviously, like an Explorer, probably a Flying V too. Gator does some neat stuff. This has like Velcro, and you could take this out if you needed more room, but it's cushioned here. So really a neat design. You could kind of do whatever you need to do here with whatever the particular guitar is you're looking to fit in. One of the previous owners at some point purchased this because it did not have a case, and this was the closest thing you could find because it's this part down here between here and here that just makes this thing gigantic, and it's hard to find a case that will fit. The other thing you always want to look at on cases, we've talked about this before, is the headstock. Right there, there's just a little bit of space underneath here in the case, and that's what you want. You don't want it sitting right on the headstock. But if we didn't have this gigantic lump of t-shirts here, that would not happen. So what we're doing here, there's a little bit of a hill there. You can't really see it, but a lot of cases are like that, where they have that, you know, a Les Paul or whatever. It's contoured to the body shape of whatever guitar you're trying to fit into it. But since this can accommodate multiple guitars, they just put that, and you're kind of on your own with the rest. So the thought here is you bundle up a bunch of t-shirts here, so when this body hits right here, it's elevated a little bit more than it would be just laying flat. And then down here, that allows the headstock not to hit. We've experimented with this 9 ways to Sunday. Believe me, if I pulled this t-shirt out, this would be hitting right on the headstock and resting on it. One of the previous owners and I had a long discussion about this. It's hard to find a case for this guitar. Please comment below if you guys have seen cases for these. I don't believe they ever existed, but I'm thinking Heritage probably put them out in just I'm going to call it generic case like this one, maybe with Heritage on the outside, that they could just put any type of guitar in, because it had to have left the factory in something. But man, I have never seen one. It's hard enough to find the guitar itself. So if you can find the case too, that's an amazing thing. Yeah, this works out well, and then we just run the t-shirt right up here as well, because we have like foam padding here under the neck, and that could possibly interact with the finish. I don't know if it would or not, so we're kind of covering that up with the t-shirt as well, just so it's not touching the finish while it's in the case. Better to be safe than sorry. All right, let's get right in here and get some close-ups on this. So all mahogany body, very, very heavy guitar, shallow pickups. Those are original, like we were talking about before. Great to see those have not been swapped out. Shallow quick change tailpiece, which the ball ends pop out. We've had a few guitars on the show that have those. A Goto 2-pneumatic bridge, Nashville style. Like I said, I would almost bet anything that this is replacement, because this would have normally had a shallow roller bridge on here, which we've also featured many guitars with. The only thing that makes me question that this might be original is that 90% of these that did come out had Kaler tremolo systems on it. This does not. So with the Kaler, you wouldn't have had to worry about any of that stuff anyways. So it kind of makes me wonder if that maybe is an original to this, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say no, that's a replacement. Someone just wanted a Nashville style on there instead of the roller bridge, and then they just decided to go ahead and leave the shallow quick change tailpiece on there, and that's fine. That works great. Like I said, I have no problem with shallow stuff. I think it sounds great, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but I've never had a problem with it. So it's always a treat for me to find an original Heritage from the old days that has all the original parts. I just think that's great. Down here, we've got the 3-way toggle. Like we said, this whole thing is very Explorer-esque. 1 volume, 1 tone, 2 black speed knobs there. Those are original as well. Rosewood fingerboard here on this set neck with the dot inlays going all the way up to our headstock, which we were just looking at, which has the Heritage logo, silkscreen, Grover tuners, and our bell-shaped truss rod cover, which we've talked about many times on this show. As of 1991, Heritage had to get that off there. To this day, this is being recorded in 2024, Gibson is the only company that's allowed to have a bell-shaped truss rod cover. That was part of their lawsuit and regulation of the guitar industry. Not just Heritage, no guitar companies can use that anymore except Gibson. So that's kind of one of their trademarks, is the bell-shaped truss rod cover. But in 1985, it was not to that point yet, so they went ahead and they were using them because that's what they knew. These were guys that used to work for Gibson, so you know that's what they were using. That's what they built back in the day. Some of those guys have been there since the 50s and 60s. So awesome stuff. Let's flip this over, get a look at the back. Okay, we got the Grover tuners there on the back. Like I said, nothing cheap about this guitar. Made in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and this was great stuff. This was Marv Lamb's Beebe. Got the stinger right there on that all mahogany neck. That hot red all on the back there, just looking so cool. Schaller straplocks, which I'm guessing were aftermarket as well, but that doesn't matter what we're using because we are powered by Strap Tight on this show. Stop dropping your guitar. Stop altering your guitar. Check out our friends at straptight.com and you are done. A Strap Tight will go right over that. That's how I'm playing it in this video. And so there's no need to swap that out. Just leave it on there, throw the strap over it, throw on a Strap Tight, and off you go. So check them out. All right, there's our control cavity for our one tone and one volume. And look at the whole back there one more time. Like I said, that is a set neck. It's not a bolt-on neck, so it's superior Heritage quality, nothing cheap here at all. Just a completely different look and design for what you normally expect from Heritage. Okay, let's flip this over, get one more full case shot. Okay, one more shot there of the 1985 Terminator from Heritage in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in this gigantic case. What a unique guitar. Only about 20 of these ever made, and they are the baby of Marv Lamb, one of the founders of Heritage Guitar in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Okay, guys, so let's take this for a test drive. I'm gonna do a little bit like a hard rock type of a thing, just to show what this was kind of built for during the big hair pointy guitar era of the 80s, which is when this was born. But I'm also going to play some straight up blues on this. It's great for that. I was playing some earlier, and even slide. So, you know, a lot of times, don't judge a book by its cover. You know, we all go on appearances. A lot of guys wouldn't want to hit the bandstand in a blues club with this guitar because you'd look out of place or whatever, and I guess you would. But that's kind of a shame, because at the end of the day, it should be judged by the feel and the tone that you get. And this thing can do it all. It can do the hard rock stuff, which we're going to display, and it can do blues and anything you want. It's just got humbucking pickups, so anything you could think of you would do with a humbucking guitar, like an H150 or a Les Paul or a, you know, H535 or ES335, you could do with this guitar as well. So let's take it for a test drive and check it out. Here we go. Alright guys, so thanks so much for checking in and joining me today. Please hit that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. Help me out. You know I appreciate it. Find me on Facebook at Todd Beebe Music. Please comment below. Have you played a heritage guitar? Do you own one? Do you want one? Did you have a Terminator or an ex-Terminator or any of these pointy style, maybe a Kramer or something like that in the 80s? That was all the rage. Jackson, Charvel, Ibanez, like I said, traditional Gibson style, for lack of a better term, guitars were dead in the water there for a while. And then, you know, as the end of the 80s approached, Guns N' Roses came out. I guess you'd contribute a lot of that with the grunge movement in the early 90s as well. All the traditional stuff kind of came back. And thank God it did. We all love that stuff. I know I do. That's mainly what we feature on this show. But these are really cool little pieces. And like I said, Heritage had to jump on the wagon there and make some of these. Like all guitar companies did. This was what rock bands wanted in the 80s, so you know you had to kind of give it to them. And for what it is, this is an awesome guitar. I love this. So thank you so much to the private owner for letting me do a review today. And like I said, please comment below, you guys. Thanks so much for checking in, and we will see you all again. Stay safe and love your dogs. Take care.